So I've had quite a few requests for a basic overview of Photoshop. Now the other videos in this playlist will go into more specific things about how to use small tools around here or how to put them together to create projects, such as cutting someone out from the background, then editing the background. So this video is not about how to use various tools. For those, go and find the right video. This is a basic look at the environment, which is Photoshop. Now, like everything in Photoshop, there is no right and wrong way of doing it, it's just different ways. So lots of what I'll show you is my way of doing it. It's very important that you play with Photoshop and develop your own preference for laying out menus, for moving around and doing things. So this is a good prompt. So the first thing, we've got all these menus at the top here. In the PC version, they're in the title bar around here. So it's very similar. The actual difference between Mac and PC is very small. So you've got File. These things is mainly used for opening existing documents and having new documents. So that's kind of where that is. I'll open up a recent one. So actually let's do it this way. Open Lectures. Fashion Week 3, so we're into Photoshop, and we'll see our various bits around here. Example edits. Now you'll see that we've actually got one which is called example.psd. PSD is a Photoshop format, so that's my actual edit. These ones here, which are JPEG, and that's a screenshot. These are just images, so I could open these, but that would just give me a flat picture. I want an actual project, which is there. Alternatively, I can actually switch down from all readable documents to, let's have a look, Photoshop PDF, Photoshop 2.0, Photoshop RAW, PNG, there's a whole lot of different ones. But at the very top here says Photoshop. If I select that, then it really does narrow it down to only things Photoshop can really work with. You still see these pictures here because we can still use them, but if you had some different file formats, they'd be disappearing. So if in doubt, go for Photoshop. So I'm going to open this one. So there we are, and hopefully there we are. And we see this is the one I made in the video. So also in the file we have Save As. So I want to make a copy of this. I can click Save As, go to my desktop, and I can give it a new name. And this tells you what to save. I mean, saving as a copy is always a good option to take because that will mean that it's sort of duplicated in a better way. So I can give this a new name, so new, and click save. And you'll notice that because I've said save as copy, we're still opening the original version, example.psd. If I had not clicked save as copy, we would see new.psd, and we're now working on that new one. But if you save it as a copy, that one you're saved as, that's somewhere else, which actually we can see from here. It's there. So yeah, so that is fine. What else we have here? Save as. We could also save this as, if we go desktop again, we can also save this as things like JPEGs or GIFs or different formats. PDF is quite good. So that's where you get your things sent to. If you're saving it for online stuff, such as web pages, there's a great thing here called Save for Web, where it limits what you can export to, but all these files are web friendly. So JPEG's great for flat, GIF and PNG are great for transparencies. So various bits there. We have exporting options such as Illustrator. You don't have to worry about these things too much. So edit. Various things you can do around here. There's nothing really in here you cover in the first year. Transform tools are great, but that'll be for another time. I'll probably make a video at some point talking about how to use transformation, so look out for that. Image. This is where you can do some really nice things. So image size, we'll edit the actual image in there. So I'm going to just play around with this. So image size. You know, we can take this down to like 1000 pixels, 100, yeah, 1000 pixels. You see these two are linked, which means that when I change this to change that to the same size and click OK, it will see what's happened. And the canvas size does a similar kind of thing. So let's make this into 200 centimeters by 200 centimeters. And you'll see that if I now zoom out, the pictures have stayed the same, but the canvas has got bigger. I'm going to undo that because it's not very good. View, fit on screen. So we've got things like adjustments. Again, these things don't have to worry about too much at this stage because this is more advanced than first year. But the ones that I use a lot are curves, and this basically changes about the sort of depth and shadows and whatnot. So I can increase the shadows and increase the highlights. So that's a very typical curve that you use. But you can also just play around with it and sort of say, does that look cool? Is this going to be a happy mistake? I could look at it and go, actually, yeah, that's exactly what I want, but maybe it's terrible. Maybe I want to have this. So the more you play with it, the more intuitive you become. So I can cancel that. Also, adjustments, desaturate. It will remove colour. There's obviously loads of things here. I'm not going to go into all of them, but you can see you start to actually do some editing. Layers. This is playing with the layering. So like new layers we can add down here, or we can go layer new. You can duplicate layers, so copying them. You can rename them, change the style of things. We can do loads of bits around here. Most of them are actually available in this panel here anyway, which we've used before. Don't worry too much about type. Select doesn't matter too much right now. Filter. Now this is where you get some really fun stuff. So again, we could do videos on loads of the filters here. I'm going to run a simple filter on here. So you can go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. It's quite a popular one, and it's just taking it and blurring the image. So is that? So yeah, we're not going to worry too much about these. We'll do it another time. Oil painting. It makes it look like an oil painting. So there's those. View, the most important things to use here, things like fit on screen. So I've zoomed right out. It's too small. View, fit on screen. That's great. I can also view print size. So that's what's going to be more one-to-one for printing. And again, view, fit on screen. There's a whole lot of things there, which different screen modes and bits and rulers. You turn rules on, you see a ruler. I don't like rulers too much myself. Snap to makes it sort of a bit more easy to get a good layout. Window, different ways here. Workspace. Now you'll see workspaces. It basically gives you some default tools. So if I put in photography, you'll see that some tools disappeared and some have reappeared. Workspace typography, which was before, is now set up more for typing. You can also set your own up, and there's essentials, the default layout. So there's also these things around here which are little tools you can use. So we've talked about layers before, so I'm going to click layers, and you see it pops out there. You can also just get it by clicking on the layers. We could say channels, which is also in that area. If I want to, and there, if I want to, I can click that area there to hide it. I can pull it out, and it's now its own little thing on its own. I can put it back in there. So I can move this up back into there. So I can arrange it to be my own way of working. To be honest, I don't worry about customizing too much because I tend to find wherever I want to, in whichever mode I'm in. But it's a good way to learn to go to workspace, click essentials, the default, and then just work your way around it. You've got colours, got swatches, got adjusted things. It really is play with it, find your own way, and the more you play with it, the more easier it'll become, more intuitive. So that's our basic menus at the top. Then help is obviously help. We've got these toolbars around here. We can click on the arrow there, and it pops out to be more of a rectangle. Click it there, more of a column. I like it in the column because I spent more time there. There's things here about timelines and bridges. Don't worry about this much at the bottom. It's pretty. It's good stuff to use, but you don't really need to know about it. And then obviously the tools. And once again, you can drag this guy out here, and we could make him there. Then we can move it to here. We can take the layers. We want the layers there. So we can customize this and to be our own way. It's very fluid. It's a very fantastic interface. But that is the basic tour of Photoshop. without going into too much detail about tools. Oh yeah, this bar at the top here, this will change depending on what tool you're using. So if I click type, you'll see it's on the type areas. If I click selection, it's about selection. Magic Wand, it's all about Magic Wand. So this one is not universal, it does change, but the more you get to play with Photoshop, the more you realise that when I do this tool, this menu comes up. When I have these options, I do this, it works fine. So hopefully that's useful to you and it'll help you with Photoshop in the future.